What's up, kids? This is Jerry Block, the editor-in-chief of IGN Gear. Today we are talking digital distribution. You guys have probably heard it referenced a lot. It is the new mechanism by which media is fed to consumers without the constraints of physical media. We're going to take a look at the three major players in the field: Apple TV, Vudu, and the Xbox 360. We're going to show you guys the ins and outs of the features and tell you which is best. The Apple TV from Apple isn't exactly new hardware. It was in fact launched last year, but at that time it was really a slave to the PC or the Mac. It had to be running in conjunction with a dedicated computer that had access to the internet. The new Apple TV Take 2 initiative, however, makes it a dedicated digital distribution box. The hardware is now $230. It's got a 40GB hard drive and built-in Wi-Fi, which is a pretty nice feature. Its movie catalog is tied to the iTunes catalog, which is always growing. However, at the moment, there are only a bit more than 300 movies available for rental, 90 or 91 or so in HD, and about 600 TV episodes. This catalog is not the largest or the smallest. It's pretty much middle tier, which is pretty good, and you can always trust that Apple will expand the lineup. However, some of the Hollywood studios have a big problem with them and are really kind of dragging their feet on support. Apple TV hardware does have some extra features, however, like some pretty good photo browsing capabilities. It can get on the internet and allow you to view YouTube videos on your main TV, which is pretty cool, and you can use your iTunes Music. So it's sleek, it's sexy, it's also the cheapest option, but it's not necessarily the best. The newest competitor in the digital distribution space is Vudu. The black box you see behind me is the portal to the service, and it costs $300. It doesn't have built-in Wi-Fi, which is something of a hassle, but it does offer the widest and most comprehensive library of movie rentals available. They've got more than 5,000 titles up from all the major studios. The TV support, a little bit lacking, but that's developing over time. HD also lacking compared to the other options with just 90 titles, but that will also hopefully develop over time. We like Vudu because it's got a pretty nice on-screen interface. The remote is pretty solid. It's got a little scroll wheel. It's a very straightforward interface for renting movies or purchasing them. That's just impossible to really lose your way in or be confused by. Solid option, but you're paying a premium and losing features for this wide catalog support. If you want to see a lot of really diverse movies, it's an option. On the other hand, there may be better ones. Last but not least in the space is, of course, the Xbox 360. The premium version with a 20GB hard drive is $350, so you end up with a lot of gaming abilities in addition to its access to Xbox Live Marketplace and the video store. Xbox Live Marketplace generally has about 300 to 400 movies available for rental, as well as a lot of HD. More movies in HD than either of the other services currently, generally about 150. On the other hand, though, the Xbox library is not really static. Movies come in and they go out, so it hovers at about those numbers, which means it's not really the portal to a huge back catalog of movies. And the Xbox 360 Marketplace tends to lag behind both Apple and Vudu in getting major releases out for digital distribution day and date with the DVD release. It lags. On the other hand, it does have a lot of content that those other services don't, like a lot of anime, some TV shows that aren't really distributed on the other options, and a lot of video gaming marketplace content. So it's really kind of the gaming solution here. It's not as fully featured as either the Apple TV or the Vudu, but what it does, it actually does better, and it's a pretty solid value. In addition to the gaming content, you can have a $350 solution or a $450 solution for the Elite that really is pretty sweet. As with so much else in the world of technology, choosing a good solution in the digital distribution world really depends on the features and issues that are most important to you. Among the three competitors right now, we'd give the value win to the Apple TV. It's fully featured, and at $230, it's definitely the cheapest option. It does music, does podcasts, it does YouTube, all on the big screen, which is pretty nice, and it's just a simple, nice little box. In terms of breadth of content, Vudu takes the win here. They've already got many more movies than any of the other services, and we expect there'll be more coming. On the other hand, it's also the simplest box. All it does is rent movies, which is just maybe a little bit too limiting. In terms of overall features, of course, the Xbox 360 is a real winner with all its great gameplay abilities and diverse media sharing abilities. It's pretty solid, but on the other hand, it's got the most limited variety of digital distribution content, and the library doesn't stay fixed. It'll really just get people's mouths wet for what digital distribution can really provide without really delivering the full package. It really comes down to how much do you really want to embrace this new form factor. All of them, if you've got a fast connection, the movies will start playing pretty quickly after you purchase them. Sometimes you have to wait a little, particularly in terms of HD. Also, the HD movies are encoded at a pretty low bitrate. They're not really up to par with what you might get on an HD DVD or a Blu-ray disc. So, as always, there are a variety of concerns in this issue. Nonetheless, we suggest people check out the Xbox 360 digital distribution options if you own one. If not, and you really hate going out to Blockbuster, we'd say jump on board with Apple TV. You can trust that Apple will really be aggressive in expanding the lineup of movies that they offer via the service, and it's a pretty good value overall. Vudu, we want to take a little while on. We want to see what happens this coming year. If they manage to build up their catalog to around 10,000 titles within 2008, we will be quite impressed, and it will really rise to the fore of digital distribution. Until then, however, maybe sit tight, see what develops, see who's going to win this one, and as always, you can check into IGN Gear to give you the written word on what is happening.